We now return you to iHeart Baltimore's Maryland Today.
Good morning and welcome to Maryland Today. My name is Jeff St. Pierre, and I appreciate you sharing some of your day with me. Whenever someone from out of town asks me to explain Baltimore, one thing I say is that it's a collection of neighborhoods that take a lot of pride in their piece of the city. One local organization has spent the last nearly 6 decades helping those neighborhoods accomplish their goals for upgrading and preserving their communities. Today, we're going to be learning more about the Neighborhood Design Center. Joining me today is Briony Hynson, the Deputy Director for the Neighborhood Design Center. Briony, it's so nice to meet you.
Lovely to meet you. Thanks for having me.
So I want to know more about the Neighborhood Design Center. I, like maybe many others listening right now, am just learning about this through this conversation. I know I've been connected through a friend of ours that works in PR, but even when she emailed me, I was like, I don't think I'm familiar with the Neighborhood Design Center. So tell us more about this.
Sure. We may be one of those best kept secrets. So we've been working since 1968, founded in Baltimore. We're a nonprofit organization that supports communities in the development of healthy, equitable neighborhoods through a process of community engaged design and planning services. And we're one of only 2 legacy organizations in the country from about that time period. And in the 55 years we've been working, we've worked on over 4,000 community-led projects across the state of Maryland.
That's wild. When you say community-led projects, what kind of things are we talking about here?
Neighborhoods come to us and they have various different things that they want to work on that are built environment related. So it could be renovations of parks and playgrounds. It could be rec centers, abandoned buildings that there's a new vision for and there's potential funding for. So the range is really very broad between all of the different types of projects we work on, as small as a neighborhood sign and a beautification planting, and as large to fairly significant community planning projects.
And when people come to you as a partner to help make things happen, do you provide everything they need? Like, how does this process work?
Our projects are really collaborations. We're like a core facilitator, and we really work between a community organization and the residents of a neighborhood, but also bringing in other stakeholders that may be there, design professionals, local government agencies, other nonprofits, sometimes funders. And we're sort of like a central sort of communication point. So we really lean in and make sure we're talking to as many folks as possible and really think about who's missing, who's most impacted. If this project goes forward, how do we make sure that it's the most beneficial, especially as you know, so many local communities are highly disinvested. So every opportunity to garner investment and to make sure it's really relevant and it's not a waste of time or money is what we're all about. So we spend a lot of time and conversation and really thinking about who else should we be talking to bring in as many different perspectives, and then fold those into really lots of conversations to surface where there may be tension between a few different needs and ideas, and to hone in on a solution that can really work for the neighborhood, and then put that into design documentation that can then be used towards garnering more funding, getting permission, getting potentially like political support, raising the profile of a project, to helping folks with their fundraising. So there's a lot of different ways that those things can be used, but then it's that springboard forward to see those projects come to light.
So in a way, you're kind of like a middleman, but a very helpful middleman.
Yeah, I'll take that.
You help make the connections for the people that need to be connected to make it work.
Yeah. And then we kind of bring that special sauce of like collaborative design and engagement to really kind of make sure that things are working as well as possible, and that at the end of the day, the community partner does walk away with, a set of plans and both the research that goes in, the kind of the data that, so to speak, that's collected, these ideas that come from the neighborhood, all of that goes forward with the work of the neighborhood to build the project. So they're armed with a lot of information and a cohesive idea to really get off the ground.
Before we move on, can you tell us where people can go if they want to find out some more information about what you're up to and how maybe they can get a project going?
Yeah. So our website is www.ndc-md.org. There's lots of information on there. You can see like beautiful images of some of our past projects, some case studies. There's also a form to fill in for any communities who might be looking for the kind of support that we can provide. They can reach out to us and we'll kind of engage them in a conversation about what they need, what their ideas are, what they're looking for. There are information about upcoming events, all sorts on there. And there's also a newsletter that folks can sign up for.
Well, Briony, give us some examples of some community-led projects that you've worked on.
Actually, on our website, there's a map that you can see that you can click in and around on Baltimore and on Prince George's County down to the block level. And you can see if in your neighborhood, if we've done any work, and it's highly likely that we have. So that's a fun place to just see this 4,000 different projects. But recently, some of the kind of more innovative, interesting examples, we've been working on a traffic calming project. There's definitely issues in many, many neighborhoods where traffic is just moving way too fast. In the Johnson Square community, we've clocked traffic going 88 miles an hour past the elementary school. It's heartbreaking to think about. And, people have been hurt in many of these instances. So looking at, how can design be brought forward to support doing some traffic calming. So, and community leaders have identified some of the places that they think are the worst needs. We've then partnered with the Maryland Institute College of Art in developing a program called Made You Look in order to create bump outs and like high visibility surface muraling, which then brings in like a heightened level of community identity, beautification, and has actually been measured to have slowed down traffic speeds at that very elementary school. So there are images of that also on our website to see how that's working. And so that Made You Look program is available now. You can find out more on our website about that. Also, there's a guidebook that folks can look at if they're looking at some traffic calming issues in their neighborhood. And so we have staff members who are able to provide technical assistance and support folks who are really trying to make some changes. And we work closely with the government agencies who have to approve this to make sure it's a successful project.
Our mutual friend that connected us for this conversation made a note for me to ask you about Signal Station North. So I want to learn more about this too, because there's so much in that Station North area that's awesome. I want to know how you've been more involved.
Yeah. So we've worked with the stakeholders across the Station North community, starting, I think, 4 years ago, putting together this idea that we know it's a really vibrant cultural community, but some challenges during the nighttime with lighting and really kind of having a sense that this is a destination and a vibrant cultural hub. So we undertook a 2-year study in order to develop a lighting plan, and also developed 3 prototype projects to install lighting, creative lighting installations. And so that process was really kind of took a deep dive again back to kind of people know their places. They know where they don't tend to walk at night. They know where they do tend to walk at night, but also recognizing that like lighting design is very technical, and really understanding, that sometimes people would have a tendency to say, put those spotlights in, it'll make it more safe, and not realizing that actually sometimes that makes it less safe because you end up with a deer in the headlights kind of overlighting certain areas that make other lighting feel dim. So we're really looking at that comprehensive approach to a vibrant lit nighttime environment that's safe and welcoming for all, and that can really be taken on by local leadership, and like that we're partnering with the Central Baltimore Partnership and others to install some different lighting interventions that really kind of activate that cross section between showing that this is a creative hub and also really making it warm and vibrant at nighttime. Yeah,
you want to make the updates, but you also want to still feel like the neighborhood that people who go there love. You don't want to change the neighborhood aspect as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, so many, it's a really interesting neighborhood. There's like a very busy bus route that comes across North Avenue. So there's people who are here that are passing through. There are people that are here that live here. There's a lot of, theaters, movie, things that are going on in the evening, galleries and things like that. So there were loads of different stakeholders that we really wanted to hear from to understand all of the aspects of the nighttime environment. And making sure that we're able to kind of bring in the most impactful recommendations. And we've worked with some really talented folks across the whole project. Flux Studios is like a local, really top-notch lighting design organization. And so they've been integral in this. We've worked with Pickle Studio and an artist, Ruby Waldo. We also took the opportunity with this not to just ask people for information. But as we were learning and as we were kind of garnering information, we put together pretty comprehensive lighting plan, but we also created these really digestible public information pieces, and those went out in the neighborhood talking about simple things like, if you see a street light out, how can you report it? Like, how do you navigate some of these public systems to be able to advocate for improvements in your community, down to a single light on the streetscape. And so those went out in like newspaper boxes. We created these zines and distributed so that folks at the bus stop or folks walking through the neighborhood also had, it's not a one-way flow of information, that we're bringing in the information to make the plan, but we're also sharing back lots of information about lighting and the nighttime environment.
I love that. Well, you've got a fundraiser here that's coming up, an annual fundraiser called Bike the Sites. And this is one of the ways that you're able to fund some of these projects is through making money off this fundraiser. So tell me more about Bike the Sites.
Sure. So we are on the 11th of November. Folks can join us. You can register on our website to go on a 12-mile bike ride around to see some of these different really great community projects that the Neighborhood Design Center has been working on. We're going to head, west from where we are here at the Motor House, all the way out to the Pennsylvania Black Arts District to see Arch Social Club and some other great cultural preservation projects there, down towards the harbor, towards Sharp Leadenhall, and Miss Betty will talk to us about the different community identity and history projects that they're working on down in Sharp Leadenhall, up to Johnson Square, and looking at actually some of those crosswalk projects, and hoping to stop in at the meadery there in Johnson Square to end off our ride. We'll be a little bit thirsty. So it should be a good time. It's $20 to join, and you'll get a t-shirt and lunch and breakfast and a good time doing this 12-mile bike ride, and get to learn more about the Neighborhood Design Center.
I love that. Website again. What is that?
It's www.ndc-md.org.
Briony, before we wrap things up, I saw that just recently Baltimore was awarded $1 million grant from Bloomberg Philanthropies. So can you tell me more about this? I mean, $1 million, that's pretty huge.
It's really big news for Baltimore. We're thrilled that the Bloomberg Philanthropies has selected Baltimore for this Inviting Light art initiative. It's a grant for $1 million as part of the Bloomberg Public Art Challenge. And this is a really unique grant program. You don't see $1 million going to public art very often. So we're thrilled to be part of it. And their goal is to really address important local civic issues in cities across the country. We were one of over 150 projects that were in the running, and there's 8 winners across the country. And Inviting Light is really about leveraging art as a tool for revitalizing urban spaces. We're going to be installing 5 light-spaced art installations, and this is really an outgrowth of that Signal Station North work that we talked about, and looking at both creating these lit art installations at 5 different sites in the Station North community. And then also, once installed, continuing the programming so that there's culturally enriching and socially engaged programming happening across at the site across the remainder of the grant period, I think another year. And so it's both about changing and installing these really cool things in public spaces, but then inviting people in and making sure that these nighttime places become places that people can enjoy, and that they're places of social, engagement and cultural joy and celebration. The artists that are involved are just awesome. We've got Derek Adams, who's a Baltimore artist, who's going to be leading, curating the 5 different installation projects. And then Micah's social curator, Jose Ruiz, and then our lighting folks at Flux Studio as well. So we'll have a lot of different partners involved across the 2-year project. Central Baltimore Partnership is the key community partner who's leading this here in Station North. And we've been working very closely with the mayor's office as well to make sure that this proposal came together. They've been incredibly supportive in making sure that this went forward. We're just excited to work with all of the partners and really see this come to light. So do check back both with the Central Baltimore Partnerships website and the Neighborhood Design Center Neighborhood Design Center's website for updates on that project rolling out. We're looking to launch things, I think, next spring, probably April or May.
Wonderful. Well, I look forward to following along with that. Briony Hynson, the Deputy Director for the Neighborhood Design Center. One more time, where do people go to find more information about what you do?
Sure. Come to our website. There's lots of information. It's www.ndc-md.org.
Perfect. Briony, such a pleasure to meet you. Thank you for doing what you do for Baltimore's neighborhoods, and hopefully we'll connect again soon.
Sounds good. Thanks so much, Jeff.
This has been Maryland Today, a community engagement initiative of iHeart Radio Baltimore and iHeart Media Communities.